Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to this week's episode of What Happened in the DSE. My name is Aisa Omari, and together with my colleague Emmanuel, we'll be taking you guys through what happened in the equities market, the Treasury Bond market, and the corporate bond market. Okay, so before anything, we just want to wish everyone a prosperous new year. We made it to 2022, guys, and that is an absolute blessing for which we are all extremely grateful for. All right, now on to business. So, as per always, we are beginning with the equity market, and shares traded during the week amounted to 698.82 million Tanzanian shillings. As always, the graph in front of us just gives us a breakdown of this amount traded each day during the week. Now, over here, we have another graph showing us the market cap, also known as market capitalization, for each day, which basically means the total perceived value of all companies listed on the DSE in the eyes of the investor. And this is only because when we're calculating this, we use the current market price of the companies listed. This week, it closed at 15.81 billion Tanzanian shillings. And over here, we have the All Share Index, which is the DSEI, which represents all companies listed on the DSE, meaning the foreign and listed ones. Now, this week was particularly bullish as we see a drop in the index of 65.07 points from the start to the end of the week. Okay, moving on, we have our weekly top movers, and these are the companies which had the most shares traded during the week. Now, the total shares moved for the week were 608,402. Now, at number one, we have CRDB Bank PLC, which accounts for 59% of the total volume traded for the week. At number two, we have NMB Bank PLC, which accounts for 15% of the total volume traded for the week. And finally, we have TBL PLC, which accounted for 8% of the total volume traded for the week. Moving on to the section where we'll be showing the companies which experienced price changes during the week, and each company will have its own graph so then everyone can easily take note of that. So at first we have EABL, which is cross-listed from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, which had dropped on Thursday. Yatu, a locally listed company, dropped on Wednesday to 410 shillings. CRDB, another locally listed company, experienced a rise on Thursday and it closed at 280 shillings. JHL, a cross-listed company from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, rose on Wednesday. NMG, also cross-listed, dropped on Wednesday. And finally, we have TPCC, which is another locally listed company which dropped on Wednesday. And now we have the word of the week in which Emmanuel will be taking us through. Welcome, Emmanuel.
All right. Thank you very much, Aisa. Now moving on to word of the week. Now this week's word is return on investment. So when you invest your money into a project like, say, a business, real estate, bond, shares, or whatever the investment is, you often expect to make a profit or a loss out of the operation. So then the question comes, how do you measure that return in comparison to what you've invested? And the answer to that question is by measuring your return on investment. The return on investment, or simply the ROI, is a metric that checks how well an investment has performed and is usually attained by taking the profit or loss made on your project and dividing it by the total capital you've invested. Of course, the return is always measured in percent.
Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel. And so now that the equities portion is over, let us zoom on over to the Treasury Bond section. And the first thing we want to know is how much is actually traded in terms of the value of Treasury Bonds, which is 58.48 billion Tanzanian shillings. The graph you see in front of you gives us a breakdown of how much of this amount was traded during the different days of the week. Okay, so the Treasury Bonds traded the most during the week were, as it's been for the past couple of weeks, the 20-year Treasury Bonds with a 15.49% coupon rate. As always, we're finishing off with the corporate bonds section, and you'll notice that this week there were absolutely no corporate bonds which were traded. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I hope this video has been informative and insightful, and as well has brought value to you. Now, feel free to interact with A Trader in any of our social media platforms and contact us in case of any other questions. Have a great week ahead, and karibuni sana.